This guy this time.
Pleasant good afternoon to each and every one of you out there in Radio Land. We welcome you to SKN Youth Talk with myself and Herschel Browne, and this afternoon's topic will be the reopening of the borders, which took place yesterday, the 31st of October. So now the borders has been opened, so let's discuss about this matter. So, Herschel, good afternoon, and let us get the ball rolling.
Okay, good afternoon to everybody out there. Welcome to another radio program of SKN Youth Talk. It's always a privilege to be here, you know, as young people, as youths, expressing our ways of gratitude and everything over the radio station. But today we want to discuss, as Shaq said, we want to discuss about the opening of the borders, you know, because it's very, very important, you know, as a people to take precautions in place. And the fact is that we have to face reality.
Yes.
You know, and we cannot fight reality. Reality will just be reality. And the time has come where we cannot take things lightly and for granted.
Yes.
We cannot be careless and irresponsible.
Mm-hmm.
The time has become more serious than ever before, where we have to face this pandemic.
Yes.
And take heed to the protocols and safety precautions that was established by our national COVID task force and government for us as a society.
Yes.
Now the borders has been open. We cannot take things lightly, but we have to practice the protocols as a country, as citizens, youths, community in general.
Yes.
We do not let ignorance lead us, but let wisdom guide us.
Go ahead.
And follow the protocol that was put in place to help us through this world pandemic by our nation, by the government, and by the task force. But before we get more into the program, it's always an honor to appreciate the good workers that stand on the front line.
Oh yes.
And I must want to say that we did a great job.
Oh yes, indeed.
As a nation.
Yes.
And you should applaud yourself wherever you are right now, because you is a part of this nation. We is a part of this nation. But we have to appreciate and honor our forefront liners, workers, for their hard work and dedication and commitment to keep us safe as a nation through this pandemic.
Yes.
First, I want to appreciate the government for the hard work and the protocols that they put in place as a government to keep us safe as a people.
Yes.
And our local nurses and doctors, our the Red Cross Society, NEMA, the police force and the defense force, our stakeholders, our international friends, the doctors from Cuba,
yes,
that came to help us, our fire and rescue services, and as I said, as we as a people, to be obedient, to follow the COVID powers, emergency powers, when the government said lockdown, to be obedient and to follow the law. Because if it wasn't for our obedience,
yes,
we didn't know if things would get worse.
Oh, yes.
Compared to certain countries, or the people reacting, I mean, because of their ignorance That's why I believe a lot of cases spread out as a community base, and that is affecting their health system now. But look at here at our nation. I want to applaud us as a people.
Oh yes.
Because we follow the protocols that the government has established, and that is the most important things. Safety, not only for ourselves, but we look at the most vulnerable, our children, our elderly people living in the community, and also our life. Because the thing is, if you don't be responsible, nobody not going to be responsible for you.
That's true.
But we as adults should be mature enough and responsible to follow the protocols that has been established by our own national task force and the government, not only for the nation's safety, but our personal safety.
Oh yes. And we're so glad that the borders are now open.
Yes.
Yesterday, but no flights came in. On the 7th of this month, there will be commercial flights that will be coming in from Miami, Canada, the States, and also in the CARICOM bubble.
Wow.
So we have to applaud the government for doing such a wonderful job keeping us safe through this pandemic. And the thing I've heard recently that Carnival will be keeping.
Will be keeping.
And seems like the young people are so vexed about this too, that no Carnival keeping, and we want to discuss about that part of
highlight
the segment. Because if we in Carnival and we jamming and we don't know who has the corona and we catch it, what is the, how should I put it, what is the consequence of that during Carnival in pandemic time? In your words.
Okay. Okay. Now, the way how I outline it, I had it for number 3 to discuss. But since we're already on it, let us discuss number 3.
Oh yes.
All right. Okay. Now, the question is, how this can affect our health system? Because we have to look at our health system and how it can affect our health system. Now, one, as you just said, the carnival coming up, some of the traditional like Juveman and all of this, okay?
Yes.
Now, this question is asked. What if the virus was to spread community-based? What if, like, although they will have, like, PCA's testing and everything before 70 hours before they go on the flight.
Yes.
And when they came here, they have to quarantine. But if in the Caribbean bubble, you could, once your test is negative, you can go through and congregate with the society.
Yes.
But what if at the moment, at the same time, God forbid, that the person come in and didn't show signs at the same time, but show signs after 7 days or say 15 days after they already congregate into society? How would that affect the community? Now that is a different level, because now you're looking at the virus spreading as a community thing.
Yes.
And once that virus spread as a community thing, it will affect our health system tremendously.
It will, yes.
And so I think that even though that the COVID task force, even the government said, okay, let us take out certain tradition things out of Carnival this year, it's not because they want to take it out. They're also looking at the health system.
Yes.
They're also looking at us, the people, the safety of the people. And I think that as a nation, even if we love to party or not, our choices should be our first priority.
Oh yes.
And the choices is coronavirus is real. The pandemic is real.
Yes.
And even though the borders are open and we expect, okay, Carnival is coming in the next 2 months' time, we're accustomed to Juve Morning, we're accustomed to Last Lap and all of this thing. But at the same time, remember, we have to maintain our social distance.
Yes.
And this tradition, part of tradition, is what bring crowd of people together. And apart, you see, the World Health Organization demonstrate the protocols that each government should take in hand.
Yes.
And one of the things that they said that we should practice, and I think that we cannot be vexed because the government said that, oh well, Juvenile is not going to be the same thing. Social distancing is very important. Because
yes,
what if we congregate and you said, yes, somebody get the coronavirus and we don't know. Look at the same time when these people came inside and we never know they came in the country.
Exactly.
What if a case like that was to happen and they congregate into the society itself?
Yes.
This, you see where the risk is.
Exactly.
Exactly, and there the risk begins. So I think even though we love party, I love party too. Honestly, I love party. But the thing is that wisdom have to be wisdom.
Oh yes.
And we have to do our best to ensure that we follow the protocols that has been established by the National Task Force. That's why that is their job. And we have to follow them.
Oh yes.
So even though we young and they say, oh, well, we custom to Juvenile, we custom to last lap, we custom to this. Yes, I know we already custom. But guess what? It is a real pandemic.
The thing that bothered me, that we had independence activities, but no independence parade. The government cancelled the parade, but still they had 5-in-1 in Nevis. How is that possible?
You see, the thing is it, as I said, we here, I know that we love to party, as I said, because it's one of our tradition here. The party is, every weekend is party, clubs, and, we already accustomed to the life.
Yes.
I'm going to be real, right? But the thing is that even with the issue with 5-in-1, I mean, I don't know if they had really the testing. We call it the temperature check and all of this. Maybe they had it at the same time. But the thing is this. And
at the same time, sorry to cut you off.
Yes,
at the same time,
right,
they had 2 COVID cases that came into the
Nevis.
Same day.
Yes.
Into Nevis, and they still had 5-in-1.
I think the government at that point should have made a decision.
Yes.
Since there is 2 active cases, then the government should have allowed that party to go on, because they had 2 active, although the 2 active, probably the person was in quarantine before and they was into government facility. Yes, I understand that. But at the same time, there is 2 active cases. And I mean, the number of people that was there to see that even the people who kept it, although yes, people already pay the money, people already buy the ticket, I understand that. But the protocol is, they should have maintained social distance. But coming out to party and limit the number of people there. So I think now, even as a traditional point, going back up to this Christmas, to some of the things, that's why the Minister of Culture said, okay, listen, we're going to take out certain things. But now, maybe the people are now enforcing, oh well, how come we can't get Juvenile, how come we can't get this? But at the same time, I blame for fault as well. Because during the political mattercades, nobody was following the protocol.
No.
And people, as a community, they watched that also.
Yes.
And I said, okay, if we could get a political mattercade, people not wear masks, even ministers, governments inside there, no mask on, but everybody just, even the number of people that was there. Yes, we didn't have a case, probably. Yes, because people have been recovered. But at the same time, emergency powers was still inactive.
Yes.
So I think that they would have followed the emergency powers that they had established for us as a people and set the example.
Yes.
Because even though it was an election time, and yes, oh well, we have to get our political mattercade, I understand that. But guess what? The emergency powers was still inactive.
Oh yes.
So they would have not get that motorcade. But as I said, at the same time, people was on the island that came in, not on the airport, not on the seaport, but guess what? At some abandoned beaches.
Yeah.
How they get, nobody know. But what if, God forbid, as I said, they had the virus and they were to congregate into the election motorcade that they had? How would it have affected us now as a country? How would it affect the health system here in our country? And these are the risk factors that people have to understand. Yes, it's a traditional thing we custom every year. But guess what? As we said, this is a real pandemic.
Yes.
It is a real life situation we are dealing with.
It is.
And even though the borders are open and we say, okay, we don't have a case, and okay, they have to be quarantined for 14 days, they have to be quarantined for 7 days, okay, I understand all of that. But at the same time, we should understand priority. That safety come first.
Exactly.
And even if the government say, okay, you know guys, this year we're not getting a Juve morning, we're not getting this, okay, we might get the folklore just on the road to carry on certain culture.
I don't heard that clowns are practicing for
exactly, a masquerade are doing as well. So these are certain things, yeah, but to get activity that gonna pull crowd, that is a different. Because now you have to look at still the emergency powers.
Yes.
Because the emergency powers extend until the 31st of December, am I right?
Yes.
So therefore, we should understand that there is still an emergency power that is inactive. And we don't know, God forbid. Now the borders are open. We don't know if we're going to have cases. We don't know if we're going to have them. So therefore, we have to follow the protocols.
Exactly.
That's why you put a national COVID task force in place.
Oh, yes.
So whatever the COVID task force advise you to do as a government, yes, you want to listen to the people, but remember, you have to listen to the COVID task force. That's why you put them there,
You have
to make this decision.
Yes.
And the CEO, Dr. Law, she's doing a great job.
Oh yes, he is.
Samuel is doing a great job.
Yes, he is.
And also Dr. Wilkerson.
Yes.
So we have to applaud them in the decision that they have been making. I mean, when we look at the situation where we had the 15 cases, how they control the pandemic situation here, it was excellent. It was excellent.
Yes.
They did a very good job. Now, the next risk is that, okay, as we said, in some countries, there are deaths. We had 15 cases, we never had deaths. Now they got to understand as well, what if now we get cases and deaths start to happen? That also going to affect our health system.
Oh yes.
Because
So true.
look at the Caribbean islands. When some of them borders was just open, they had to shut down.
Yes.
Because the number of cases had raised so much, and even possibility that occur in some people to the virus. So these are the risk factors that we have to look at now. Now the borders has been open. It's not when the first and the 2 cases came, when the government called a state of emergency, then we had to lock down during the curfew. But remember now, the borders has been open.
Yes.
And planes gonna come in from some hotspots. Planes are gonna come in, even though, yes, some of them coming in from the Caribbean bubble. We have to look at the fact that we're still living in a pandemic. We're still living in a real situation that is affecting life and causing life around the world. So even though we say, oh well, those who coming from the Caribbean bubble is lowest, member again. Even though they're coming from the Caribbean bubble, we have to look at Jamaica right now. I'm not bringing them the country, but look at Jamaica.
Yeah.
Look at St. Martin, the cases now. Look at Antigua, the Bahamas, the cases that rise after they open the borders. They had to close back down. And that increase. So I say now, what if, I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen. That it's not going to happen.
Suppose.
But suppose it. Yes? But that's why the state of emergency extend to the 31st of December, because nobody know about tomorrow.
Exactly.
Nobody know if this jet arrive in St. Kitts also already been to a test. Nobody know if we're gonna get cases.
Exactly.
And what if the cases go to a higher level where death got to occur?
What I realized this week is that I haven't seen tourists for a long while. Up to yesterday and Friday, I started to see tourists in Valley Mart, and I'm like, where do these people come from?
Well, okay. Well, you know, some of them live here. Alright? Some of them live here. Like there are students and, you know, people who work over Posante.
Yes.
So some of them
But
live
I
here.
haven't seen them in Valley Mart for a long time.
Yes, some of them live here, so I understand. But, you know, but at the same time again, although we said, oh well, the economic of the bill, then, okay, we're going to look at that as we go further down. Alright? We're going to look at that. Now, remember you got to also, okay, let me look at it as we go down, okay?
Yes.
Let me look at it now. Let me look at it. So, we have to look at the most vulnerable in the community. We have the children. We have the elderly.
Yes.
We have ourselves. But at the same time, again, now the bar is open. School will be on still. We still have our elderly people living in the society. So the most vulnerable now, we have to, government have to look how we're going to protect our students. How we're going to protect the elderly.
Yes.
How we're going to protect the most vulnerable in the community. So, and are the only childhood. And you know, the list goes on.
Yes.
But at the same time, as I said, you have to look at the risk factors. Now the borders are being opened. You have to look at one, those who work at the airport. You have to look at them.
Oh yes.
Because that is the first risk. They're coming through the airport.
Exactly.
The port is closed. The seaport is closed. Because no ship is not coming in right now.
No.
So again, now although we said, oh well, the borders can be closed forever, that is true. It's a true fact. But they have to look at the risk factors. When they come to the airport, although they've been quarantined, they gone out of quarantine. Again, the hotel workers is there. When the hotel open up and all of this. So there's a lot of decisions that the government got to take in place, even though the borders has been open. And I think that's why they have been working so hard to prepare us before they open up the borders. You know, and we cannot look at things politically, because a lot of people has been ignorant, and they have been looking at things in the wrong way and say because of politics. We have to put politics aside for now, and we have to look at a real situation that is happening now. No. In our time. We cannot let politics in front of everything. There's a time that we have to put politics aside.
Exactly.
And we must not practice ignorance.
Exactly.
We must not practice ignorance.
Say it again.
And say it again. Shaq told me to say it
Say
again,
it
so
again.
I will say it. We should not practice ignorance. We should see ignorance causes a lot of people life. Look at the protests in America. When America is at a state with all of these deaths, with the number increasing every year.
And the president doesn't even care.
Well, I'm not gonna get on that boat. But I'm not gonna get on that boat, yes? But the thing is as I said, don't practice ignorance. Okay, what is ignorance? Imagine, let's look at certain island. I'm not gonna look here. I'm gonna look at some international islands.
Yes, go ahead.
Look at Jamaica. They say lockdown. Look at the people ignorance. Oh well, no corona in Jamaica because they ain't believe in corona. First, ignorance. Secondly, we eat with dumpling. We eat with hard food. So we can't catch corona. But look what happening now in Jamaica.
Imagine that.
If they had listened to the advice of the COVID task force, then I believe that this number of cases that spread to the community wide in Jamaica will not be in so many cases.
I agree with you.
And that's why I said I applaud us as a people here to being obedient to the government.
Oh, yes.
When the government say curfew, all of us in our house.
Yes.
When the government say lockdown, all of us in our house. Why? We see our health. We see our safety. We see our children. Yes, a lot of us get upset, oh well, because all this curfew. But the curfew was there for a purpose.
Exactly.
Because it was a condition where the government had no choice to call a state of emergency. So it, because of people ignorance, sometimes cost their own life. And again, look at America. They had the protests. What's going on? And during the protests, a lot of people get affected with coronavirus in America and certain states. A lot of people get affected by the coronavirus. And you see the number increase on building. And he said, oh well, the bars are open. Let me go to the bars. Okay, no problem. But you see, again, ignorance costs a lot of people life.
Yes.
And that's why I said the government, although the government was protecting the most vulnerable, the elderly, the children, I understand that they pick up whatever, okay? But there's just some people who is just ignorant. And if you just get ignorant gonna cost your life.
Exactly.
And the next thing, we should not practice carelessness.
No.
We cannot, as I said when we begin the program today, as I said, that now the borders has been open. This is not the time to play careless.
No.
It's not the time to play dashing hoop or winger rosy. This is a real life situation.
Oh yes.
Where we cannot be careless anymore.
No.
The times that we are living in is very, very serious.
Exactly.
It's more serious than yesterday.
Yes.
Because yesterday, although they had a curfew and we had get locked down, because when the two cases come, we locked down at the same time. That was yesterday. Now today, the borders has been open again.
Yes.
And real flights will be coming in. And we cannot practice carelessness.
No.
Ignorance and carelessness will cost your life. And that's why, as I said, we cannot be ignorant especially in a time where we're living in. We look at the situations overseas to compare to some other islands. We look at a lot of the situations. It's because of many people ignorance, the cases has been rising when they open up their borders.
Yes.
Now, what we have to practice is very simple. It's not going to kill us. It's not going to kill us if we practice wisdom. Wisdom is the most benefit thing in life. We cannot be like the foolish people when the Bible talk about when the storm come. The foolish people said, oh well, it's just a water, so we'll build a house on the sand. And when the water came, the house went.
Wow.
But you see, I said this to say this. Coronavirus has taught the world a lesson.
Oh yes.
And I think that coronavirus also alert every government in every country as well.
Yes.
Because nobody know that this thing would have come in 2020. Nobody know that this thing would have hit this world so hard as a bomb. When we say, oh well, the world war going to be like bombs and all of this, the world war end up to be a disease that the world have to fight. And compared to a lot of disease, coronavirus takes so many lives. Compare in the last 6 months, looking at countries, compared to a lot of chronic diseases, coronavirus takes so many lives.
It's so true.
And we cannot be ignorant, as I said. But what we have to practice, one, is very simple. Wearing of masks. Now the borders has been open. Oh well, we say, oh well, the police force, the COVID task force, they they enforce wearing masks and they want the people pay $500 and it's not that. Don't let ignorance show you that. There's a reason why they say wear a mask.
Yes.
You have to protect yourself. If you don't protect yourself, who's gonna protect you?
Exactly.
Or you could live by wisdom or die from ignorance. But again, wearing of masks is important.
Yes, it is.
Imagine you're driving on a bus. You don't have on a mask, you don't have on one. But as I said, I'm not looking at those who come to the airport. I'm looking again, the case that happened where we had the active cases, where people come in from different places and we didn't know. Yes, the government didn't know how they get in. A case like that, what if, now the borders open, it happened again, where people come in and we don't know. And then they get the virus. Because number one, they didn't come to the airport. So there was no screening, there was no testing.
Exactly.
But they just come inside. On an abandoned beach or somewhere. And you're in a bus, you sit down, you don't have a mask, you don't have a none, the person don't have a none, and the person just sneeze, and you say, okay, that's normal. And something go on you. And then you catch the virus. You go home. You give your family virus. You see what I'm talking about?
Yes.
The risk factors? So you have to wear a mask.
Exactly.
The mask is there to protect you. But again, you could say one thing. The person have on a mask and you don't have on one. But again, probably the person don't have it. Or maybe the person because have a mask. But then the person cough, but he cough in the mask. Nothing gonna come on you.
No.
But you see, I said this to all to say, wearing of masks should be mandatory.
Exactly. I agree with you on that.
But if you have a problem with respiratory system, which means asthma and everything, I'm not saying that you have to wear the mask like the whole day, because your body will need oxygen for sure. You know, because you suffer from a respiratory problem.
Yes.
You know, but at the same time, you can still to put it over your mouth and let at least, because you know the body have two respiratory systems, the mouth and the nose, and let the air come to the nose and everything.
Yes.
But at the same time again, even though you're asthmatic, you should wear a mask. But I'm not saying, as I said, you should put it on the whole day. If you feel like you're getting attacked, at least take it off and get fresh oxygen.
Yes.
And everything. But you have to be careful because, as I said, you don't know who is who. That's the question. You don't know who is who.
Exactly. Before we move on, let's take a break and come right back.
Yes. Any comments?
What is it? But people viewing, people watching. People watching.
But tomorrow people gonna. Watch it.
And we are back. Welcome back to SKN Youth Talk. And my name is Shaquille Gumbs, the host of this talk show. And with me here is Herschel Browne, my co-host, and we are discussing about the reopening of the borders here in the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. So let's continue from where we left off. Herschel.
Yes, so welcome back again, and as we continue, now, as we was talking about before we went to the break, we was talking about the things that we have to practice. Now the borders has been open. I know we've been practicing it, but we still need to put more enforcement of it into being. So we was talking about the wearing of mask, which is very, very important and mandatory. So we say, okay, well, even the churches, sometimes because Christians, they say, oh, well, God gonna heal and God is a healer and we don't have to wear masks and nada. No, you should follow the protocol even as a church society. And as I said, we cannot let ignorance blind us. So even though you is a Christian and everything, you should still follow the protocol, to protect yourself. Because what if you're in a church and somebody coming and you don't know they have the virus?
That's true.
What are you going to say? God is a healer, right?
Well,
but guess what?
I can say.
But what God said to you? What about wisdom?
Exactly.
I give you
have
wisdom.
to use wisdom.
Exactly my point. So, some people say, oh, well, this is time to follow the protocol because I don't believe. I believe. Listen, it's not don't believe, I believe. This is a real life reality. Don't fight it. It's here. It's here. The borders are open. Reality is here. Reality is life. And reality teaches experience.
Yes.
But during our experience, then you have to learn by the experience that you see. We look at the news. We look at all those videos when a lot of nurses, doctors was over them crying and all of this, and all these videos was going on during the lockdown. How doctors wanted to give up and because of the burden and the distress and it was dramatic.
Yes.
That time. And we should look at those experiences to see how people life was being affected and people, in different countries and all of this. This what wearing a mask is for. To protect you. To protect me from the virus. So just in case they come from the airport in the 72 hour test, and then they come through and they congregate with society, as I said, God forbid, they may come through, they may do the test, the PSC test, and then they come to the airport at the 72 hours, whatever, and then they come through and then, as I said, science may show after.
Exactly. It can happen.
Thank you. It can happen.
It can happen.
So we have to wear a mask, which is mandatory. So guys, I'm saying this to say that your safety come first. Our safety come first. And the frontline workers have been working so hard. They make the sacrifice. Some of them even put on their family just to be out there to help fight and combat this disease. And we have to take it into precautions. And wearing of mask is mandatory. Wear it when you go to church. I want to talk Kitchen. Everybody overseas is. Yeah, alright. My friends are listening on overseas, but it's okay. But wear it when you go to church. Wear it when you go to school. Wear the mask in a bus when you travel.
Yes.
Wear the mask when you walk down the road. Wear the mask when you go shop. Wear the mask when you go work. Wear the mask. Wear it.
Wear it all the time.
Wear
it wherever you go.
Exactly.
Even when you go into Nevis, wear it.
Exactly. Reality said, wear it. Reality said, and repeat myself, reality said, wear it. It's not a domino game we are playing. It is a disease that could take your life, that could take a lot of people's life. And in order to protect your family, you should maintain the protocols. Guys, we're going down the road. You have your mask. You have your mask. You have your mask. I have my mask. Everybody put on the mask. Let's go down. Simple. You're not at risk.
Exactly.
But if you go without a mask, you're at risk. So wearing of mask is important. And I'll repeat myself. Wear it. When you go to church, when you go to school, when you go work, when you go shop, wear it. Wear it.
Exactly. Because you never know who you can get in contact with.
Exactly my point. You never know. Then the next thing again is hand sanitize.
Yes.
People, I know we're getting fed up of the hand sanitizing, and we're getting fed up of the alcohol thing on our hands and all of this. But if that way that's gonna help us, at least do it. Hand sanitize your hand. Put on alcohol. Wash your hand. You know, when you touch, you see, especially when you go in public bathrooms. Am I wrong? Am I right? Let me know. When you go in public bathrooms, because you don't know who touched the doorbell to go inside.
Exactly.
You don't know if anybody's spitting or something. You don't know. And that's what said, wearing of gloves also. But as you wear gloves, it should be the disposable ones. And you should know how to take off your gloves and dispose it.
Yes.
So rather than you getting in contact and with the contamination and the gloves, you should know how to take it off properly and dispose it. But the hand sanitize is very important. You go to a public bathroom. You don't have to be a public bathroom. It could be anywhere. You go, okay, hand sanitize my hand. After, hand sanitize the hand again. Alcohol, I'll sanitize it again. Because you don't know. I only judge these public bathrooms because, you know, when you're dealing with public, it's society, it's outdoor.
Yes.
It's not like it's in your home. It's outdoor. So, you have to practice these simple protocols more. Know the borders has been open.
Oh, yes.
Healthy diets is very important. You have to drink healthy juice. Okay, guys, don't watch my boom. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. But healthy juice, orange juice, lime juice, vitamin C, vitamin D. Continue to take your vitamins. Continue to build your immune system. Although it affects your lungs and your pituitary area, but again, you should build your immune system. You know, drink a lot of water, drink a lot of juice, you know, continue taking vitamins. I don't know how people don't like vitamins, but vitamins is very good for you.
Exactly.
Take your vitamins, take your minerals, take it. Every possible way you can protect yourself necessary, do it. So, no, that's why they say, you know, if people, that's why we look at the elderly as one of the vulnerable people, the children as well. Yes. Because, you know, some of the elderly get chronic diseases. And now to come up with another disease or a particular problem, you know, that could take you out very easy.
Oh, yes, can.
You know, there are people also living with AIDS and their immune system can be very affected.
Yes.
So, if they get the contact with the virus, and your pituitary system area get affected, that could kill them instantly. So that's why again the government put in protocols to protect the most vulnerable in the society. That is that the disease can affect even those at the hospital is the vulnerable. Those in the prison is the vulnerable. So, but the hand sanitizing is very important. The healthy diets is very important because you have to support your immune system. You have to. But again, the problem is, God forbid, remember, people say, oh, well, we get with gun food. We get with this. I know we get with gun food. I know we get with this. But people still get affected. People still get affected. So, life is so complicated. Life is such a thing that we have to look at it and learn by it.
Oh, yes. We have to.
We have to.
We have to live by it as well.
Yeah, exactly. Live by life and learn by life. And as I said, coronavirus teach the world an experience. And we have to look at the experience that the coronavirus teach the world. Because I know, God forbid, if when now the borders open, if we get case, God forbid, and death happen, except for I have one death, you know a lot of people gonna be scared. A lot of people gonna do this. Oh well, one death don't happen in St. Kitts, you know, and rumors going and that, and this and that. Okay. Yes. But that's why in the state of emergency, the COVID task force advise you to wear a mask, hand sanitize, wash your hand truly, use soap, you know, all gloves and all of this. Because every one of these simple quotation have what we call a reason and a meaning to it.
Yes. Okay. Now let's discuss about protocols during traveling on the sea. I don't want to touch the topic. I don't want to really touch on it, but let us just discuss about the protocols during when you're traveling to between, like, say it's Nevis.
Your vessels.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about the incident. I want to talk about. We can talk about the incident the next day. But let us talk about the protocols.
Right, travel and sea.
Yes.
Okay. So I will answer that question after I finish these three. Okay, we have 3 more points on what to practice. Because basically it's the same thing that we'll have to discuss when we go into the question that you just asked. Or the what to do when you travel between.
Yes.
Yeah. So again, social distancing. Very important. Social distancing.
That's one thing people don't do nowadays.
Exactly.
And I don't see it when it comes to partying, when it comes to people shopping in supermarkets, even though the lanes are marked out 6 feet, but still people are still squeezing up to each other, which is very dangerous, because they never know who has this, who has that. So we have to practice social distancing.
Very good.
This is one thing we have to learn to do, is social distancing. Even when it comes to partying. And I think they need to cut out this partying thing, because it's not good, because no 6 feet whatsoever is going on in a place. Which I don't understand why, but they need to look into this. The task force need to look into these problems, into these partying situations. Because whoever keeping these parties need to realize that the protocols are not really being done. But the task force need to look into these matters and get these partying under control during this pandemic.
And that's why I glad you said that. And that's why, again, we cannot vex when the government call a curfew. We cannot vex. Because if we don't listen as a people, then the curfew is there to make us listen. And as I said, ignorance is what costs a lot of people life. And you're very right. Because even when you go to shops, at least, I mean, if you got to hire a security, or even somebody normal, and say, okay, you have to be there by the door, make sure everybody follow the protocols. Nobody in my shop without mask. Nobody, this is the number of people only can be inside the shops. Make sure somebody go around the shop. Nobody can be in the shop with their mask down. Everybody have to get on their mask while they're in the shop. And they have to maintain the social distancing. They have to maintain the protocols.
Yes.
Because the police cannot do it alone.
No.
They cannot be everywhere. They still have other work to do. But I think the stakeholders have also a responsibility to play in their business as well. In terms of following the protocols of social distancing. Because even though, as I said, a bar, you know, people just come around, sit down, and just drink, and everybody start partying. But again, as you just say, you don't know who is who.
Exactly.
But even bars should follow the protocols. Even restaurants should follow the protocols. Okay, if you're going to allow a family to be there at 4, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. But again, you still have to make lines to follow the protocols. You know, they do it in the school. They do it like when they go in the schools, the protocol line, that. Some stores follow the protocols, but not everybody do follow the protocols. But you have to follow the protocol of social distancing. It's very important. It's close contact that can get you to a risk. It's not far contact, it's close contact. The more closer you get to someone who being affected by the virus, it's more to get it. That's why this is social distancing. You know, we say, and as I said, a lot of people, because of ignorance, say, oh well, no corona here, no this here, no everybody's open. I mean, we don't have to social distance, we don't have to this. No problem. No problem. That's why I say we cannot vex if the government call curfew. Because curfew is there.
Yes.
To make sure the people follow the protocol.
Exactly.
You don't follow it, get back a curfew.
Exactly.
Go and talk.
My point.
Because the thing is if you're not going to follow the protocol as a country, well, I have no choice as a government, as a prime minister, to get the approval by the government, by the governor general, in this COVID Powers Act emergency to call a curfew.
Oh yes.
And people going to be ignorant. People going to talk. That's okay. At least it's for your safety.
Exactly.
Because if the bar's not going to follow the protocols, if some of these shops not going to follow the protocols, then it makes sense to call a curfew. We may not like the curfew ourselves. But again, it's better for us as a people to follow the protocol of social distances rather than being in close contact with somebody who you don't know, who may have it or not. It's better. You know, and I know, as I said that, a lot of people, because we say, oh, well, the virus is not here, but remember the borders are open now. They are open. You don't know if the case is going to fling high like a plane. You don't know.
Imagine that.
You don't know. We just don't know. That's the question. We don't know.
God forbid.
Exactly. God forbid. Because we don't know. But in the act of this, what gets you prepared? And as I said, the stakeholders get a responsibility to play. And the people also. Because if the stakeholders follow the protocols that the COVID-19 has set, it will be better for us as a people. Don't only look at the money. Look at also your employee safety, your safety, and other people's safety that come into your business. So the stakeholders have a responsibility to play also. Even if we open back the jewelry stores, don't posante, now the borders open, tourists may come in and everything. So these jewelry stores open back up. Security have to be there.
Exactly.
Okay, there's a number of people allowed in the store. If you come in the store, the protocol is one, you have to get your temperature check. If you refuse, you cannot go in. That's just it. You have to argue until judgment they come. That is the protocol. You cannot go in without a temperature check. You cannot go in without a mask. You cannot go in without your hand being sanitized. You cannot go inside. And when you go inside, you have to wear your mask then. If you don't do it, turn back. Because you're not going inside. People may argue because of the ignorance. Let them argue. That's why I said the stakeholders have a part to play and responsibility. So it's very important for social distancing and stakeholders and people to follow the protocols as well. Okay?
Yes.
Because tourists will be coming in. They will be coming in. And tourists don't only mean white people. Black people as well.
Yes.
You know, so just to clarify that. Okay? Now, also, limit yourself from crowds. You talk about the 5-in-1. You talk about, okay, the Juve morning coming up, the carnival stuff coming up. What are the risk factors here? Crowd. Again, crowd is the key word.
Exactly.
Crowd.
That's why they said they want to have carnival, but not in the major events, but in a virtuality aspect of it this year.
Exactly. Definitely.
To keep us safe from this COVID.
Thank you. And because it's a crowd, it's close contact. And you know, being in a close contact with somebody and you don't know if they have it or not, you is more at risk. Because being in a crowd is more at risk than being somewhere without a crowd. You hear me? So that's why the social distancing has put in place, because to handle the crowd protocols.
Yes.
So if you have a lot of people, I mean, and you have active case at the same time, and a lot of people and jamming going on, and you don't even know, you see all sort of faces, you don't even know who get it or not. You just go and get fun, and look at something here, boop, say it's fling high with coronavirus. Way high.
My God.
That's why I said you cannot blame the government if the government say they're not gonna have major traditional things that we custom, like the carnival, like the troops, like the Juve morning, like this. They know why they said that we're not having it. And because of the keyword, crowds. Crowds. Close contact. So let us all be wise and put wisdom into precautions.
Yes.
And follow the protocols.
Oh yes.
I know we love Christmas, but Christmas can be a Christmas with your family.
Yes.
Christmas can be a Christmas with you, I mean with you and your girlfriend, you know, alone, you know. There's not a crowd.
Exactly.
It's you and your girlfriend.
Yes.
It's you and your wife. It's you and your kids.
Yes.
So Christmas can be a Christmas like that. Christmas don't really have to be jamming and all of this. It's a part of a traditional culture.
Yes.
But the thing is Christmas can be different for all of us this year. And it could be amazing. We still could have the virtual stuff online and Facebook.
Yes.
Because during the lockdown where we had what we call vaccine. With
Yes,
all those
yes,
cancers.
yes.
And it was amazing.
Oh yes.
Because I believe me, right? That helped us so much psychologically. Because you know you get locked down and you can't go out. You custom the party but you can't go out. But you get locked down and curfew and all of this. But when the vaccine come into play,
yes,
that helped a lot of people.
Oh yes.
People start getting back excited. People start getting back, you know, because the mind now free up. You know? The mind now getting back relaxation. So as I said, Christmas can be a different Christmas, but it could be a Christmas with a meaning.
Yes.
Because as I said, because we're living in a real situation with the pandemic, and some of the major tradition in our culture pertaining to carnival like Juve morning and parade day and all of this last lap day, because of the number of crowds. If the COVID task force said, okay, guys, we cannot have these major traditional cultural things because of the crowd contacts, we cannot blame them. It's for our safety.
Oh yes.
It's for our own good. Because as I said, because the COVID powers has extended to December the 31st. Am I correct?
Yes, you are.
Because of that, as I said, we don't know the number of cases that we are going to get. We cannot see in the next 3 weeks. We cannot see. We just in November. Because the plane's coming in from Saturday coming.
On the 7th.
From the 7th.
Yes.
So no, the plane coming in. So we now don't know if we are going to have any active case.
Exactly.
So that's why the powers are still in process. So even the minister who over culture, youth and culture, he now have to make a decision based also on the COVID task force advice. So he cannot just say because he's a minister of government and over minister of youth and culture that he's gonna have carnival because carnival is a traditional thing. No. The people gonna talk what they want. You is the government. Yes. If you let the people control you as a government, then why you there as a government?
Oh my.
The government is there to enforce rules and regulations.
You go ahead.
And the people must abide by the rules and regulations. That's why you is there as a government.
Yes.
And if the people get out of hand, then you get the police.
Hmm.
You want to keep a party still? When the COVID task force said shut down the party because of this, you ban? Get in the police. Arrest all of them.
Exactly.
Charge them.
I agree with you.
See, sometimes you have to take the bull by the hand. Because if you let the bull boot you all the time, and that's what they're going to do. The bull going to continue booting you. But if you take the bull by its hand and plumb it on the back and say, listen, we is the one in charge. You follow what we said. You understand? So that's why the government had to make a decision. And that's why I said, even you as the minister of culture over sports, you have to follow the COVID task force. Because they will advise you also what to do. Because all these powers and protocols that they type up is not easy. It takes energy.
Oh, yes.
But if you're going to be ignorant because the people say, oh, well, we must have carnival. Christmas without carnival is dumb. Without Christmas, without this is dumb and this and... Hey, listen, that's the people. But as a minister of government, you set a COVID task force, you listen to the task force.
Yes.
Because at the same time, you is a part of a parliament. And the Prime Minister has announced, and the Governor General, that COVID powers is still inactive.
Oh, yes.
And it's not going to finish until the 31st of December. Why? Because we don't know if we don't know how many cases we are going to get.
Yes. That is so true.
Very true.
So true.
So that's why we cannot look at the ignorance and all of this. Now, pertaining to your question, what you said about the boats traveling to between St. Kitts and Nevis. Now, again, the protocols is still there.
Yes.
Which in the temperature check,
Yes.
the sanitizing. But again, they don't have to come to St. Kitts Airport. They have to come to Nevis Airport and travel from Nevis and the ferry down to St. Kitts.
Yes.
So again, here goes to flap risk factors again. Because you may say, oh well, they come to here, but we're not gonna coronavirus because we're not seeing no active cases. But what about the other port, the other airport?
Exactly.
What about the other airport? So that's what we have to look at now, the risk factors of people traveling between St. Kitts and Nevis. Now again, it's up to the captain. It's up to the stakeholders again. I remember we talk about the stakeholders. But up to the captain now to decide. Again, nobody on the boat without their mask. But you know, some people get sea motion sickness. So if you feel like you're getting it, at least you could pull on the mask a little bit and get some fresh air.
Yes.
I mean, it's life. It's just life. Yes? But at the same time, the captain should make protocols. Nobody on the boat without a mask. And get a protocol also in place if you're feeling emotion sickness and all of this. And you will know what to do because it's your health and you will know.
Okay, now, pertaining to the boat situation, should the passengers on the boat be wearing life jackets during the travel?
Well.
But because suppose something happens during the travel, like say the boat ready to sink or something, and nobody have on life jackets, everybody gone.
Well, okay.
If they can swim, they are safe. But for those who cannot swim, it's a problem. Because when I'm traveling to Nevis, I don't see anybody wearing no life jackets. Nothing at all. But suppose something tragic happens, like back then with
you mean the incident?
Yes, with what's the boat name again from a long time? Christina. Yes. Suppose when something like that occurs, should some kind of protocol be in place during a travel between
Nevis,
our two islands?
Well, okay. Every boat should have a protocol put in it. But we're gonna speak about that next week. Can we do that next week?
Yes, we can.
And just follow because should we have limited time left?
Yes.
Then we just complete this and then next week we talk about that issue. Yes? But we just said the mask is mandatory. Right? Wearing a mask is mandatory. Now, when the captain also should have, although they take a temperature check maybe before they enter in by the port area to go in to wait for the boat, the captain also should have someone there to take temperature check.
Yes.
Because remember again, there are people that traveling back and forth from St. Kitts to Nevis, Nevis to St. Kitts, back and forth. So therefore now, you have to put a protocol in place. Each ferry boat have to put protocols in place as a captain.
Yes.
Right? Because, as I said, and also to maintain, so if the boat used to carry like 60 people or 50 people, you should know how you're going to degrade the crowd. You should know how you're going to limit the number of crowd that you want on your vessel during that time of business of travel between St. Kitts and Nevis. So, for instance, for example, if the boat used to hold 100 people, then you should know, okay, since the protocol is in place, there's a situation, now only 50 we're going to allow on the boat. Now the 50 also got to have to maintain social distancing because of the protocols, and depends how big the vessel is. So you should know how you're going to degrade the number of crowd and the vessel also. All right, because of the social distancing protocols. So, because as I said, they may not come to St. Kitts Airport, but they come to Nevis Airport.
Yes.
And they have to come to the seaport to come to, and the vessel to come to St. Kitts, and the same thing from St. Kitts to Nevis, same thing apply. But the social distancing, the temperature check, the wearing of masks, the hand sanitizing, the same old protocols, the vessels have to practice during their travel between the back and forth between the two Federation Islands.
Yeah.
Yes? So basically, yes, they will have to follow the protocols as well. So so the last phrase that we are going to discuss is about how can we build back our economy. Because we know that the economy is affected.
Yes, at this present moment.
At this present moment, all around the world. You know, everybody's saying things though. People get laid off from the work.
Yes.
People get, I mean, a lot of things happen during this 6 months, last 7 months of the coronavirus situation. And a lot of people lose their jobs. But at the same time again, how can we build back our economy? You know, how can we strive it back into action? But okay, we're going to look at now our tourist industry. Now, we know that our industry is tourism, and we know the tourism has been affected all around the world.
Yeah.
Affected very seriously. Hotels closed down, ships stop run, jewelry stores closed down. So you could see the economy right there.
Yes.
Has been breakdown. Yes. But in reviving back the industry, this is the first step that the government took, as we see it happen now. The reopening back of the borders.
Yes.
For tourists to come back. So local businesses like taxi men, like those business that do with the tourists and all of this, the hotels, can revive back their business and also revive back the economy. Am I right?
Yes, you're right.
So we look at the factor where the ships. Now, if ships was to travel back to the country, which they will sometime, right? Which they will. But at the same time, even the ship industry have to make a decision. Because remember, a ship is also, it's like, I would say, a bubble that can hold coronavirus. Because remember, if a ship hold like 5,000 people, now the ship have to make a decision. The decision is, they might have to make, this ship hold 5,000 people, we have to degrade the crowd by 3,000 people, or maybe 2,000 people. And then, how they are going to maintain the social distancing on the ship. And also, the same thing that are the protocols that for the airport, it is the same thing they have to get the protocols. They have to take the PC test. They have to do their testing and all of this before they go on the ship.
Yes.
To make sure that they are not positive. Again, they have to protect their crew members and all of this. And then we as a people, the government here, have to put a protocols to protect those who work on the port when the ship, their vessel dock.
Yes.
But again, even that is gonna affect, because now less people now gonna travel, because people now have to watch their budget. Because remember, a lot of people lose their jobs, a lot of people not working anymore. So even now, tourists now also looking at their budget. They're looking at their budget, because this thing has affect. I tell you, this thing affect the world so badly that tourists got to watch their budget as well.
Yes.
And it's like this. The question is, I mean, it's reality. Like, okay, I'm a tourist. I mean, the world is in a state right now. I might not want to travel right now because of the situation. I have to be quarantined for 14 days. Half of my vacation gone. So I make no sense travel.
Exactly.
So I better to stay in my place. And then, but as I said, it's going to take time for the economy, the tourist industry economy, to revive back.
Yes.
It'll take a lot of time to revive back. And there's no telling when ships going to run again. So the only thing now that those jewelry stores are everything going to have to depend on, and the hotels and everything that work in the tourist industry, is through the airport. Those who come to the airport.
Yes.
And that is one way of reviving back the economy. The first step. But it's going to take time to revive it back fully, back into normalcy. Okay? Now, we have to look at our local businesses. Now, comparison with the prices in the stakeholders like Rams, like Value Mart, as I said, like the Chinese, like Best Buy and all of this, and those who sell electrical appliances. Now they have to know, because of the time where the economy being so affected, they have to look at also people who suffer because of their job loss. So they have to know how they compare it with their prices as well. So if the prices used to be like say $12 for say a half pound of chicken wing, they have to compare the prices and drop it. Because you at the same time, you want your business to grow.
Yes.
You want it to grow. So now you have to compare the prices by dropping the prices also to suit the people who are not working at this present moment. It's not that your business is suffering because of profit loss and all of this, but just that because of the time of pandemic situation where people lose their job, if you want to revive back your business, then at least you should decrease your price. Right or wrong?
Yes, you're right.
Because people now, they used to buy say Carib, like say used to be like for 4 ECR $3.75, you know, for $3. Now one Chinese, you know, Coke used to be for $5, for $4 now Chinese here get the Coke for $2.50.
Yes. Now
you see the comparison prices, and that way their local business gonna be increasing.
Yes.
Increasing. So they're gonna find back their way slowly, because the economy is reviving back slowly. But these simple steps is what gonna revive back your local business. You know, and even look at TDC quotes. Say if the prices were fling high, probably say $2,000 for a bed. How are you gonna drop your prices? Okay, you could drop it and say, okay, since this was $2,000, let me drop it for $1,500. Your business is going to increase.
Yes.
So you have to make strategies in terms of building back your business. And the same way, the government have to make strategies in order to revive back the economy. And the first step, as I said, we took is we opening back up of the borders, so tourists can come back into the country. So the tourist industry can fling back into normalcy, right?
Yes.
Now, also, you have to rebuild back yourself financially. Now, You have to know the do and don'ts. Now, listen to this, people. I'm talking about personal financial development, management. Per se, I use the word management.
Yes.
We're living in a world now where the whole world economy is falling, is fall apart. There's no way that we know when the economy is going to revive back itself. But we know it getting back there slowly. You have to know what you are going to spend on and what you are not going to spend on. So what am I saying to you? Don't spend your money foolishly.
Exactly.
You should know the value of your spending. You should know the value of self-financial management.
Oh yes.
Because at the same time, you cannot blame the government if you're not profiting financially.
Exactly.
Yes, the government have a stimulation plan with social security to help those who are being affected and everything from their jobs and different areas. But at the same time, you have to revive yourself financially. Okay. The borders open. Yes? Let me look at this now. You building back yourself financially. Now we have, I will create some factors points here.
Yes.
We have the strip club, number one. A lot of people, they go there. Fridays now, they spend their money.
Exactly.
And what? Foolishness.
Exactly. Yes.
Although maybe the strippers get a club as well. A job, maybe they have a job as well. And the way of making money is through that way.
Yes.
So they cannot, so we're not, okay, we're not going to bring them down for that and all of this. Because people is people.
Oh yes.
Okay? Down the bars that sell alcohol and all of this. When you don't work a Friday time, you should know how you're going to manage yourself. Because you say now, oh well, how come I get so broke in the week? How come I get so broke? But you never forget the Friday when you went out and spent $100 worth of beer. Why? You see where I'm coming from?
Yes.
It's not the time when you go out and spend foolishly because your eye click on something you want to buy it. If it don't have no value to you, why buy it? Why spend your money on it?
Exactly.
When we know that the economy is being affected. And that's why only people pay are being decreased and all of this. You know your pay are being decreased and all of this. Spend money wisely. Know your value of spending. Even on food. As I said, even when you look at cause even in my case, sometimes I have to watch what I spend. I'm not gonna go out there and spend foolishly.
Exactly. Exactly.
Some people don't have it. But you have it. You have a work. Some people don't have none.
Not at all.
But you have a work. You should know, not because I have a work, oh well I could fling out my money and spend what I want. You're going to end up into a case of dropping as well.
Oh yes.
And that's why wisdom teaches us principle.
Exactly.
And the principle of spending, knowing the value of what you want to buy.
Oh yes.
If it don't have no value to you, don't waste your money on it.
Oh yes.
Don't waste it. Save every little thing you got. Yeah, as we forefathers who say, even a tiny penny. Save it.
Yes. We just have 5 more minutes to go. So let's just wrap up. So
yes. So, by wrapping up, as we wrap up, as we said, your personal financial management is important. Very, very important. I'm sorry that we cannot go more deeper into it, into the discussion today.
We can go further into it next
week because because it was a lot of things, a lot of foundational points.
Yes.
Spoke out today. Sorry. So guys, my last word of encouragement to you. I know I speak a lot today. I'm tired as well. I need water now. I speak a lot. So my last word to us. Let us be wise. Now the borders is being opened. Again. Let us be wise in our spending. Let us be wise by following the protocols.
Yes.
Let us be wise by taking the advice of the National Task Force very, very seriously.
Oh, yes.
It's not a time to play dashing hoop. It's not a time to play ring-a-ring-a-rosy.
No.
It's a time where we cannot be careless, and it's a time where we cannot be ignorant. We have to take in precaution our safety. And I will hang over back to Shaq now, and let Shaq give you the last word of encouragement, and then we wrap up this discussion.
Well, I would like to encourage each and every one to please follow the protocols. Follow each and every one of the protocols, please. It is mandatory because our borders are now open, and right now we are about to end this session this afternoon, but come back next week at 4 p.m. sharp for another edition of SKN Youth Talk with me, myself, Herschel. Felicia will be back with us next week, hopefully. So thank you for tuning in. See you next week. Bye-bye. We are out.
Miracles going to happen to this man. They brought him to Jesus. They were out of the town with Jesus. They were expecting the miracle even more than the man.